sometimes when something is initially terrible, it ends up kind of working out. I mean, I think our She-Hulk viewing experience has been kind of rewarding.
I would say so, yes. The show did get better as it went along,
It did. It got better. It got funnier.
which is the exact opposite of WandaVision, by the way.
It's the exact opposite of most every show ever, ever, ever. You could tell they were building to something. And, I feel bad for the writers because number one, they suck. No, I'm kidding. They're seeing all this internet hate and all this YouTube hate. And they're like, just wait, just fucking wait. Just here it comes. Here comes the last episode. We're going to blow your ass away. And
It was kind of good.
yeah, I mean, I don't think it was the greatest thing ever, but I will say the 2 episodes previously that we grudgingly admitted were pretty good and we liked them and enjoyed watching. 2 out of 6 or 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a bad ratio.
Well, the whole show throughout had, even when they didn't have very good episodes, there were moments in every episode that you didn't hate.
Yeah, and I mean, it was. I think Andrew said it last time. It's not like a slog. Like Rings of Power is a slog.
Oh God, yeah. You just keep checking your watch.
Even when She-Hulk was bad, it was like very light and easily digestible. It was like sometimes a shitty little hors d'oeuvre, sometimes kind of a pleasant little hors d'oeuvre. More often than not, shitty. But yeah, it wasn't at all heavy. It was, it was like what a fucking sitcom should be.
It was like regular Lay's chips. They're pretty good. They could use some dip. Maybe some barbecue Lay's would be better, but this is what you got.
All right, so here's the big finale episode, and it was very, very ho-hum, humdrum. And then it got really, really cringy, ramped up. But we didn't know until like maybe 30 seconds later that was very, very intentional because they had a massive fourth wall break coming up, and they actually needed to like tee that shit off. Like Bruce dropping in.
Yeah.
So it's got to be said. I mean, the CGI has not improved. If anything, it's gotten worse. I don't really hate that, but I mean, she looks like shit when she's talking.
Yeah, she looks like a GIF.
Yeah, they just aren't really trying that hard on the CGI. But I don't need them to. If it's a good show that amuses me, I don't really need them to be any better on the CGI front. It'd be nice if they were, but I get it.
And when you're writing a scene like that, where everything's starting to go crazy in like the standard Marvel way, and she's going to fight somebody with the exact same power set as her, but bigger. And that's when they decided it was all silly. I thought they really missed an opportunity to have a sky beam.
Oh, they should have had a sky beam.
There should have been some way Bruce should have come down on the sky beam, some kind of sky beam. Something needed to blast through the roof and sky beam it up. Because, I mean, if you're writing that to make fun of everything that Marvel typically does, that's the one big one. Why did they miss that?
Based on the entire season as a whole, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they actually kicked it around in the writer's room, and maybe they just felt like, I don't know. I'm going to say they made an artistic choice not to go that way.
I think they forgot.
Maybe, possibly.
Because they were trying to go over the top in that scene, and that would have been one more degree towards over the topness.
It was so bad with everything that was happening, and everything just happened to occur right there at the retreat, and Emil Blonsky just reverted back to his evil ways, or not even his evil ways, but his abominable ways.
Yeah, at no point was he evil. He was just trying to make a few bucks on the side.
And
he actually saved her.
And then she just calls bullshit on the whole thing. That was kind of cool. And
yeah, it kind of reminded me of the end of Blazing Saddles a little, where they bust out of their own studio.
Yes, that was probably. I'm trying to think if anything else has done something like that quite so hardcore as Blazing Saddles, or strange to say, She-Hulk.
I think maybe Daffy Duck did it when he was arguing with the artist in that one episode.
Okay. It got wonky. It got wacky. I mean, that was more fourth wall breaking than Deadpool has ever even dared to attempt. So you got to give him credit. Even if you didn't like it personally, you got to give him credit for going for it. I mean, she basically popped her head out of the friggin' Disney Plus home screen and swang around a fucking window. And what about when she finally met Kevin? No, nobody meets Kevin.
Yeah.
And it was basically like a MODOK robot named Kevin, and they had the anagram all worked out for what Kevin stood for. That was pretty good.
It was pretty good. I thought, as clever and good as that all was, I thought the pacing was off a little bit. They kind of dragged it out a little too long. That could have been 2 minutes instead of 5 or 6 like they did.
They could have tightened it up.
Yeah.
I thought it was Tatiana Maslany's best episode in that just making her joke about, I'm smashing this and Matt Murdock or whatever she said. That was
Yes, that
fucking
was the best joke of the
hilarious.
show right
Yeah,
there.
that was good. And her whole like, yeah, can we do that? No. And she was like trying to like negotiate with Kevin about shit happening. I thought that was by far her best episode. Might not have been
Yes.
the best episode, but I thought it was her best episode. I think a lot of people maybe are hopefully watched it, gave it a fair shot, and are kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to say converts because I don't know if I'm a convert. But if season 2 comes out, I will be right there to watch episode 1.
I'd give the show a C with a barely visible plus on the end. It just kind of fell right over the line to pretty good.
C being average. I'll give it a D with occasional B blips.
Well, okay, that's probably a better one there.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say in toto on average, a C. Yeah, I guess if I had to get an A score, I'd give it a C. But it was that C was an average of a shitload of D and then a couple of really, really good B plus moments. They did have some really good moments.
And an F for episode 1. That was awful.
Oh, I know. Jesus Christ. What about that was weird at the end. I mean, they'd already gone off the rails, so I wasn't really even looking at it all that critically by that point. I was just like, holy fuck, what are they gonna, what are they gonna do next? I was flabbergasted by what they were doing. And of course, they had the backyard barbecue with the whole Walters family.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce shows up with Scar, and Scar looks like shitty CGI, but oh god.
Well, they had to force that in there because they're trying to jam Young Avengers down our throats. So
yeah,
that's going on.
That's going to be World War Hulk that they're leading up to, I think. But then, can it be World War Hulk if he comes back and he's still smiley, douchey?
Yeah, they've already kind of screwed up that whole plot line. I mean, they could make it happen, but they already had a good chunk of the plot line, grafted into Thor Ragnarok.
That's true. I thought it was really, really, really great when they had her at the very beginning of the show dreaming about the old Hulk thing. I mean, when you saw that, like, the
Yes.
cross shadow, like, target on her face and the stuff she was wearing. And then they show her and Bruce standing there talking to each other. And it's not just the clothes he's wearing, which looks like Bruce Banner, but it's like his hairline was receded, more froey and kind of gray. Everything about that looked so 70s or early 80s.
And did you notice that, like, when she says that "don't make me angry, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry," he gives the same look that McGee gave.
Yeah.
Like, you could side by side those just so it was perfect. I loved it. That was the best part of the episode.
This episode, right from the start, was kind of being, much more awesome than you ever thought it could be. Plus, yeah, I will say, I don't know if I will go so far as to be like, yeah, look at that episode in your face, all you doubters and naysayers, because I still kind of consider myself, the preponderance of my experience makes me kind of a doubter and a naysayer. So that episode wasn't like a complete mic drop, but like a little bit, it kind of was a little. I thought it was a little bit of a way to cap off a season,
It was their best episode. They finished strong. It was a lot of fun to watch, and there were some cringy bits to it. They were leaning a little hard into the, if you make fun of us on the internet, you suck, and that's what we do. So I guess by extension, we suck.
Anything else about the She-Hulk that needs to be said?
Where would you rank it in the hierarchy of Marvel shows recently?
At the end of watching the first season, I had more fun with it than Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep, definitely above that.
I had not more. I'd put WandaVision above it, even though WandaVision kicked me in the balls a lot and started out so well and then kind of went downhill from there. I think even after starting out well and going downhill, it still kind of ended up above She-Hulk.
I grudgingly agree with you on that point, just because it had more of a, not to make a pun here, but it had more vision.
And as far as Hawkeye, I think it was better than Hawkeye too.
I would put Hawkeye above it, but for one reason and one reason alone. I loved Rogers the Musical. I want to see Rogers the Musical. That is my favorite musical ever.
And you're going to give that entire series credit for having that moment. Okay, I guess.
Well, they put in the whole big dance routine number at the end, so hell yeah. And on top of that, it was a averagely entertaining-ish show.
Hawkeye could be a bit of a slog getting through some of those episodes. Some were good, some were bad. She-Hulk, maybe it had the advantage of only being 22 minutes long or whatever the hell, 30 minutes long, but it went down easy. So I will put She-Hulk slightly above Hawkeye.
And what's your thought on my single favorite of the Marvel Post series?
What if?
Loki.
Oh. I forgot that existed.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Your hate for Loki confuses me.
I know. I'm the same way when you hate like Avatar or when you were like hating on House of the Dragon episode 1 or whatever. I'm the same way. I put it above Loki because Loki was, for me, a slog. And Loki was a constant series of me saying, oh, I would have done it differently. I would have made different, better choices. I would have had the plot do this instead of that. So Loki was unbridled potential, constantly letting me down, whereas She-Hulk, not. So therefore, She-Hulk fares better.